My name is Tendai Mtsekwa. I'll be moderating, or I'll be directing the next session, which is on customer experience management, the game changer in improving the bottom line. I think the morning's presenters all were speaking to the customer experience. Tsitsi spoke about the apps, whether they are serving your organization or whether they are designed to serve the customer, whether they're designed to enhance customer experience or whether they are just designed to make your job easier. And Kieran logical interventions you have so that at least you are able to serve your customers seamlessly. So the next presenter is Winnie Muchanyuka. She is the Chief Executive of the Zimbabwe Tourism Authority. The authority is one of the parastatal organizations falling under the Ministry of Environment, Climate, Tourism and Hospitality Industry. I'm not sure whether it's still the same. It has changed. Yeah, Environment and Tourism. She's the, okay, which falls under the Ministry of Tourism and Hospitality. She's immediate past president of the Tourism Business Council of Zimbabwe and served in that office from 2018 to 2021. She is a holder of an MSc Tourism and Hospitality Management degree from the University of Zimbabwe and an MBA with the University of Gloucestershire in the UK. Winnie is an aviation specialist, having served airline businesses in Air Zimbabwe, Swiss Air, Australian Airlines, Sabina Airways, and South African Airways in the commercial and airport operation space for over 30 years. But she still looks very those of you who understand Shona Muchanyuka, it means you shall arise, you shall emerge, and you can see what's happening at ZTA. The numbers are heading north. It shows that it is in very capable hands. If we can please clap hands for Winnie as she comes to the podium to speak on customer experience management, the game changer in improving the bottom line. Let's continue clapping. Walking up here is not an easy task. Thank you very much. Oh, and by the way, the session is sponsored by the National Social Security Authority, who have kindly blessed us with these caps here and pens on your desks. Please feel free to wear them and to also take them with you. Thank you.
Very good afternoon to you, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to recognize the minister and our patron who's in our midst today. Someone that I really admire and look up to. And when things get tough in the government space, I look to women like this and I say, if they can do it, I can too. When Gillian sent me a message to say, please, can you come and be part of this convention, and gave me the topic that I will be addressing just now, I was like, why is this guy punishing me? But knowing Gillian, he probably saw some deficiencies in the work that I'm doing and thought, you know what, go and research a little bit on this and it might just help you. And it's amazing how I was reminded of a lot of things that we do in the space of customer service delivery as I put together the presentation that I will share today. But before I do that, technician, I just want to play a video. It'll take 3 minutes of your time, but please watch and listen intently. Thank you.
Not just a place. It's much, much more than that. It's the sound.
Something else is playing in the background. Do you want to start again?
Early in the morning as the sun rises. smiles, no matter where you go. Our rich history, culture, and heritage. Our vibrant art, music, and creativity. Our mighty rivers. Cascading waterfalls. And enormous lakes. It's our pristine wildlife and nature, still so wild and untamed. From the rolling mystical mountains and dense forests of the Eastern Highlands, down to the breathtaking beauty of the Lowveld and the vast floodplains of the Zambezi Valley, across to the balancing rocks of the Matokos. Animals still wild and roaming free. It's the feeling of inner peace and relaxation. It's the rush you get from the endless adventure opportunities. It's the true beauty of a Zimbabwean sunset. It's the memories that will last forever. Zimbabwe is the feeling. Zimbabwe is a world of wonders.
Thank you, fellow marketers. That is Zimbabwe. And that's what I'm tasked with marketing, not only here in Zimbabwe, but across many, many borders. And it's a very daunting task. Every tourist that is traveling around the world is looking for an experience. And the world where I come from, we are in the business of building these experiences and building memories. And tourism is about building epic encounters and lasting memories. So if I were to ask any one of you, you probably have a list of places that are on your bucket list. And these being on a bucket list is because either someone has told you about it, or you've seen it on a video somewhere like this one, and you would say, I would want to experience this. And these memories that we are trying to build for those that are visiting our country or those that are going around our country, they are built on these experiences. So experiences can be good or they can be bad experiences, but they are experiences. There are products or services that we can swear on. I'll say, I'll only use this bank, or I'll only go to this hospital, or I'll only eat at this restaurant, but I will never be seen dead in a place like this, or in a place like that, or I'll never be seen dead using a particular product. So why is this important for us as marketers? The building of experiences and the building of memories. I looked up the definition for what an experience is. And quite a few issues came up. Some said it's a practical contact or observation. Some say it's an encounter, it's an event or an occurrence. And some say that it's a fact or a state of having been affected by or having gained knowledge through observation or knowledge. So we've been exposed to these things. And when we are exposed to events, when we're exposed to events, we then form these memories that we have, and we form these experiences that then we can talk about. So when we deliver a service, or when we deliver a product, the experience becomes fundamental and becomes very important for us as we deliver. We then say, what is customer experience management? Because this is what I was tasked to talk about. And a definition that I came across was, it's a strategy that is hyper-focused on designing brand experiences to meet or exceed customer expectations and to ultimately improve customer satisfaction, loyalty, and advocacy. But as I looked at it and I highlighted these words in red, I said I want to flip it around and say, when we go into business, our primary objective is to make a profit, right? But how do we make this profit? We make this profit when we have satisfied customers, customers that are loyal to us, and customers that will talk about our brand, will talk about our products and share them with other people so that they also become our customers. But these customers don't just come from nowhere, right? We need to know what these customers want from us so that we can provide this service. And we can meet or even exceed their expectations from us. And even how do we do this? We then design brand experiences that talk to the needs and the expectations of our customers. And how will we do that? And how do we go full circle? We become hyper-focused. So when I was thinking about the word hyper, I remember my younger son, when he was about 2 or 3 years old, how we would get him to go to sleep was we would give him a glass of cream soda. If he had a glass of cream soda, he'll be running around for 20 minutes, but he would knock out after that. So if we are going to be hyper, I would like to be as hyper-focused as Farai was with his cream soda, and be truly focused to the needs and the expectations of my customers so that I can deliver a service that they're expecting and they can be satisfied, become loyal to me, talk about my product, and I make my profit. Simple, right? So that's what customer experience management is about. And end of presentation. I wish that was the end of the presentation. But as I've been saying, that these aspects, if we put them together, they'll bring us repeat business, they will guarantee our revenues, and ultimately we will be profitable organizations. But critical to customer experience is the knowledge of the need of the customer and the touch points that are in your service delivery. So customer experience then is about marrying these two. It's about marrying the need and knowledge of the touch points that are in your delivery service. And then in there, you will then see what the customer wants, how they want it, and if you do that well, you might even exceed what they're expecting from you. But then again, we step back and we say, what are customer needs? And customer needs are drivers that are behind the decision-making at the point of purchase. And these can be physical or they can be psychological drivers. So even as I was preparing this, I was thinking, what is the physical need for a purchase? And then I thought, okay, if the government has changed, I have a new minister, a new deputy minister, new PS, and the chief director and I are running around like crazy trying to feed information into these new team members that we have. And then they are throwing curveballs and they want things done differently and what. And at the end of 3 months, we are super exhausted. I'll take a break because I need the break so that I can replenish and start again. So I'll go on a holiday, or I'll go kumusha, or whatever it is that I do to take a break. But then I thought, okay, so then what is a psychological need? Then I'll be like, okay, so before bed, I'll be going through my Instagram or going through my Facebook, and I see all these girls' trips going to Zanzibar and whatnot, and I'll be like, but I need to do this. It's a psychological need. I really don't need to go to Zanzibar. But just the fear of missing out and the fear of not being part of what is going on, it'll push me to make that purchase. But knowing these drivers for your target market helps then in developing relevant products. And why I say relevant products is that we can produce any product. We can make soap, and everyone can make soap. But what soap is it that our target audience needs? So I could go and make a soap that is an antiperspirant. But what my audience actually needs is a soap that gives an even skin tone. So that segment is not going to buy my product, and my product is just going to pile up there, or by chance, somebody else will buy it. But the target that I had been aiming at is not interested in the product that I have. So it becomes important for us then to collect data and to analyze this data so that we can develop these relevant products, or we can even develop new products or upgrade the ones that we have that are existing. And the process of data collection and analysis must be a continuous process. We can't say that in January we collected this data and we went and we produced this service or enhanced that product, and then we sit back for 2 years, or we sit back even for 5 months, 6 months. Things could have changed out there, and your audience is now interested in other things, and you wonder why your stock is not moving or your service is not being purchased or utilized. So this process of data collection and data analysis, it has to be a continuous process so that you keep in touch with what your customers are needing. And neglecting on this could spell disaster for your business. And there are a myriad of available data collection methods. It can be as simple as that immigration form that you all don't like when you arrive at Harare International Airport. Yep. Right? So that is a data collection method. Or it can be anything from that right up to artificial intelligence. But there is a data collection method that's available for any kind of business. And that would be able to tell them what their customers are looking for. I step back again and I talk about the touch points. Remember we said we have a customer need on the one end, and then we have the customer touch points. So as the customer experiences your product, they will experience your product at different touch points. And these could be direct, those that you have influence over, or they could be indirect, some that you don't have influence over. But what is critical is that if it is part of the ecosystem of your service delivery, you need to have or to watch that touch point so that it delivers up to the standard or up to the requirement of your customer. The business where I come from, we use a lot of agents because as we sit in Zimbabwe, we cannot reach the whole world and invite them to come to Zimbabwe. So there are appointed agents all over the world that are doing business on your behalf. But if they're doing business on your behalf and they're not living up to your brand promise or your brand ethos or your brand values, then you're going to have a mismatch. You might not even have tourists that are coming from those different markets. So businesses ought to have the customer in mind at every single touch point, whether it's one that you have influence over or one that you don't have influence over. So let me demonstrate something to you from my previous life in the airlines. As I was talking about, or as I was reading about touch points, it reminded me of a customer service program that we did at the airline I was working for. And this was around about 2013, 2014. And it did touch on the issues of touch points in our service delivery system. So if someone were to decide to go somewhere on business or on holiday, let's say they're going to Johannesburg even. So if you take them through the various touch points that they will go through from the time they decide to book to the time they end their journey. There are millions, but I just picked on a few at each level of their travel so that you could see how touch points are critical to your service delivery. So if someone were to make a booking, they could have known about you off social pages, or they could have made a call to your office, or they could have visited your ticketing office, or they could have spoken through a travel agent, or they could have done it online. But with all those spaces, they're experiencing your brand. And then you say, okay, if they're on your social pages, maybe you've communicated the way that you want to communicate your product. But there are agents that are also selling on your behalf. And they will go and they'll start communicating something that is at a tangent to what you are communicating. Because they are serving their papers. They just want to sell this, and they want to make their commission off the sale, right? They could have come to your ticketing office, and you have 6 or 7 agents that are sitting there. You walk in, one says, oh, good morning, sir. The one is looking down. This one is doing their own thing, and they're not paying attention. Your customer is experiencing all this, and they're already forming a perception about your brand and how they are experiencing it. So they book their ticket and everything, and then they're going to the airport on the day that they need to travel. So their travel experience starts in the car park. They arrive, that automatic boom is not working. They're already frustrated because they arrived at the airport late. They go to the check-in counters, they've gone through security, they've gone through immigration, they've gone through customs, duty-free shops, lounges, boarding gates and all that until they're eventually sitting on a plane. But at that point, what they're holding in their hand is the ticket from your company. And they are relating this whole experience to the ticket that they're holding, okay? Anyway, they are on the flight. The flight attendants are super. They give them champagne, they talk to their need, they give them a pillow, they're very comfortable, they even change their seat, they might even be upgraded or whatever. They thoroughly enjoy this flight. And then they arrive on the other end. And they are told, okay, you have to wait 10 minutes because the bus is not here to take you from the aircraft to the airplane. And then they have to go through Port Health. Where's your COVID certificate? I don't have my COVID certificate. Go over there, go and have a COVID test done. The up and the down and so on. They go through immigration. The guy at immigration is chewing on his apple and addressing you as my friend. Those kind of things. You get on the taxis and the buses. By the time you get to the end of your trip, you are now counting. You know what? I hate this airline. And part of what is being attributed to you is actually immigration, it's customs, it's security, and things like that that are not actually part of your business but have an influence on the entire experience that someone is going through. So this is why it's critical that as we deliver a service, we know what are the touch points that our customer will go through, those that are within our control and those that we can influence. So I could sit with immigration and say, guys, you know, this business of filling out this form for residence and so on, it's just not on. When you go to other countries, you go through, they stamp your passport and you go through. I'm coming back home anyway, right? But even for those that are visiting, can the forms be online? Can they be available and things like this so that we are in sync, right? And we are delivering a fast, efficient service. And our guests are not waiting in long queues and all that. And then, so touch points become very critical because you might know what your customer needs. Your customer wants a first-class ticket, or they want a first-class service, and they want the most direct route possible, and they want this kind of a meal, and all these things you can provide. But there are all these other little people that are in between that could really spoil all this for you. So I just wanted to demonstrate the issue of touch points, and that even as we design experiences, as we package our products and services, we are very, very aware of what all the touch points are as we deliver the service. So anyway, to talk a little bit about the very basics of customer experience. and some of these I've already alluded to, is that we just need to understand the needs of the customer. Because if we are talking to ourselves, because sometimes the kwanza is big and it. Sometimes we can say, oh, we are the best in this and we are the best in that. But we could be the best in that, but we are not talking to the people that need to consume our product. So it's very critical that we understand what the needs of the customers are. And let's be led by the customer insights so that we can change or redefine our priorities to develop a better offering. And just to keep our finger on the pulse of customer needs so that we can adapt quickly and change to their needs. So I was talking to Lillian earlier when we were having a chit chat there, and she was asking, oh, how are things at ZTA and how is the tourism world? And I was saying the tourism world has become very difficult because post-COVID, tastes of travelers and tourists have changed so much that even you're not even sure what your traditional markets are or what your emerging markets are and so on. So you need to have your finger on the pulse of what is happening in the world that could affect the traffic that comes to this part of the world. And for us to be able to package ourselves in such a way that we are attracting that. And of course, the digital age is here and customers have access to information. And guess what? They'll always be a step ahead of you. But do we really want our customers to be a step ahead of us, or do we want to be a step ahead of them? Or at the very least, be moving together with them? So customers expect us to know what they are looking for and to deliver it. And if we are lucky, to even be able to preempt it or to exceed that which they were looking for. Oops, sorry. Apologies there. And then as I was reading, I came across an article that was written by the consultants at McKinsey that were talking about customer experience. And they highlighted these 5 things that are in the future of customer service delivery. And they said meeting customers' expectations is going to become harder. And as I alluded to, coming out of COVID, and certainly for us from tourism, the taste of customers has changed so much that, you know, traditionally we would have known, oh, the Germans want to come on safari. So if they come and they go to Hwange and they go to Matusadona or to Mana Pools, tick, and then we have those arrivals. Or we know that the people coming from the UK, they want to come and experience the Vic Falls on the Zimbabwe side, on the Zambian side, and then they go across to Chobe, tick. But those traffic movements have changed because not only are we a long-haul destination from what used to be our traditional markets pre-COVID, we were also packaged together with other countries. But post-COVID, people have opened their eyes and they don't accept anything and everything. They are telling you, oh, okay, no, I will have a better experience if I'm across in Chobe and I'll only come to Vic Falls for a day. And this is some of the patterns that we begin to see. Whereas people used to come and stay here for 2-3 days, they're only coming here for a day trip. So satisfying customers, it's going to become harder and harder. But as we said, if we're doing enough research and if we're analyzing the data that we are collecting, we should be able to keep up with the needs of our customers. And customer experience is going to become the #1 differentiator between products. So for those that are familiar with this region, we've got Zambia on the other side, we've got Botswana here that give splendid experiences of the products that we are sharing. But the differentiator in what will make a tourist stay longer, either in Vic Falls on the Zimbabwe side, or Vic Falls on the Zambian side, or Chobe across in Botswana, the differentiator is going to be the customer experience. They can see the big 5 across in Chobe. They can see the big 5 here. They can see the big 5 across. But whoever is going to give a true customer experience and the experience that the tourist is looking for is where they will spend their money. And the best experiences are going to be omni-channel. So they will speak to all the channels. So it's not like you're getting a different message from your social pages, you're getting a different message from your agents that are representing you all over, and you're not getting a different message from the principal of the product themselves. But all your channels should speak the same language. They should provide the same service. And there shouldn't be a difference whether you're in an office in New York, or you're in an office in Mutare, or you're in an office across in Zambia. It should all speak the same language and deliver the same service. And we must put faith in digital transformation. It's the way in which the world is going. And we need to invest in that and to make sure that we're up there as far as digital transformation is concerned. But the human touch is still a very critical factor. It's quite efficient to call a number and have an auto attendant answer your call and direct you to whatever extension that you're looking for. But if you dial that same number on a different day and a human on the other side picks up the phone, even you will sit up and you'll say, oh, because we still want that human touch. During COVID, we had to do virtual calls and all that. But as soon as people opened up, or as soon as countries started opening up, we were all in a rush to go and meet because we need that physical touch. So our customers would need that as well. Sorry? Oh, okay. And, sorry. And customer experience management is directly related to the company's revenues, its profitability, and the future of its brand's performance. We've talked about how we have repeats, and the repeats guarantee us of revenue inflows. And if we keep up with this, then we become profitable. And as we become profitable, we begin to enhance our brand. And as we enhance our brand, we become competitive. We can stand up against competition. We can even beat competition if it so comes to it. So back to the question, and to say, how does customer experience affect the bottom line? I think I've gone through this already, but it determines our profitability. Good experiences will produce repeat business and referrals, right? And customer experience impacts on the value proposition. When we have confidence in a brand's performance, it ensures us of our return on investment. So if we are confident that we are delivering a service that our customers are looking for, and the response from our customers is that they are confident in our brand, right, and the use of that brand, then the return on investment for us will become positive. And even as we guarantee that return on investment, you will find that you will need to spend less on promoting your product because you have a customer base that is already confident in using your product. And I read somewhere that they're saying when one is confident in the product that they're using, it's highly likely that 3 times over they'll be able to use that same product. And even as we use that same product, we will tell our friends and we'll tell our business associates. And from there, word of mouth remains the traditional old marketing tool. Customer experience will influence price sensitivity. Price becomes less of a factor when the experience matches or exceeds the need. In the 90s, I worked for an airline called Swissair. That airline was an elitist airline, and it was the strategy of the airline. Pricing for the airline, it was deliberate. Minimum 20% above the highest competitor in the market. So it wasn't about having full flights, but it was about having the right kind of revenue from the right kind of pairs. So you'll find that Swissair used to fill from the front to the back. So first class would be full first, then business, and then economy class will complement the rest of the revenue on that airline. So price was not an issue. So Swiss Air never competed for price. And you know why? Because they were sure, and absolutely sure of the product that they were selling, absolutely sure about the service that they will deliver. And even when I worked for them, I struggled in the beginning because the precision was just too much. The majority of Swiss people are of German origin, and we all know about German precision. And everything works like clockwork. I remember my first trip to Switzerland, my first business trip to Switzerland, my manager said to me, "Winnie, whatever you do, do not be late. You can set your watch according to the trains." That's how efficient the Swiss, and this is the product that they were selling to the world. So they were sure about it, so they could price it in such a way that whoever was paying for it didn't think twice about doing that. So yes, when we are sure of the product that we're selling and it's talking to the target audience that we're aiming at, then price becomes a non-event. So customer experience also creates customer lifetime value. So we're able to measure how much we are gaining out of each loyal customer that we have. In my previous life, again, in the airlines, they have a very elaborate frequent flyer programs. And from that, you'll be able to track every year that, oh, Mr. Jones gave us X amount in revenue by just tracking their activity. And whilst you give them rewards for doing that, but it's also your way of calculating how much revenue you could realize from each person, and what levels then you could target to boost your revenues. And again, from word of mouth, from referrals, customer experience will accelerate order frequency. When we've established trust, that trust translates to more consumption of your product. There are mistakes that we could avoid as we look to becoming customer-centric in our organizations. A lack of customer understanding. I think on every other slide that I've been going through, I've been talking about the customer's needs and their preferences. So if we fail to understand those and what their pain points are, this can lead to below par customer experience or customer delivery. So investment in good and thorough research will enhance our knowledge of the customer. So it's not enough to just fill in some forms or to have an electronic, were you happy, were you not happy, a kind of feedback or kind of research, but we need to invest in a good and thorough research so that when you have that report, you know exactly what your customer is looking for. We need to avoid inconsistent experiences. So let it not be that John comes to your facility today and walks out of there and say, wow, I've never experienced such service, or I've never experienced this anywhere else. But as he's talking and he's telling someone else about it, you'll be like, where? No, not that place. I promise you I'll never ever go to that place again because I had ABCD experience. So the product or the service needs to have consistency. Again, in the my previous life in the airlines, it was almost a drill that those that were in customer-facing touch points, they went through what we called standards at the time. It was almost like you must rehearse what is the process flow of doing this, what is the process flow of doing this. And it was all in an attempt to try and foster that people must do things in a particular sequence so that we could aim at delivering the same and consistent service. So all touch points need to be consistent and they must be aligned to your brand values. Poor communication. So poor communication or failing to communicate clearly and effectively with customers, that can lead to misunderstandings. So if we are failing to communicate with our customers, they might not be able to tell us what it is that they're looking for. If they are telling us and we are misunderstanding it, what we then go and deliver to them is not talking to what they are expecting, and will lead to negative experiences. So we need to find good and effective communication between ourselves and our customers. Ignoring feedback. And I find this is quite prevalent, even here in Zimbabwe. But when you give feedback, people say, I don't know if you've experienced that. When we get feedback, especially if it's negative feedback, we always say, and we choose to ignore that feedback at our own peril. Even machineta, maybe let's listen, and then from their venting or whatever, pick out what is actually talking to your service delivery and go and make amends in that area. So failing to listen or to act on customer feedback, it can lead to missed opportunities. You miss the opportunity to improve on your customer experience and to retain that customer. And this one is my pet love, the lack of employee training. Sometimes we rush to design products and services and how we are going to deliver them and all that, and we forget to train our employees to be able to deliver on this thing that we are promising. And employees who are inadequately trained, they will deliver this inconsistent service. And could not be bothered. Or what they're doing and they feel is their best might not be matching up to what we go around promising. And talking about promising, one other pitfall is that we overpromise and underdeliver. And we make promises that our businesses will not be able to keep up. And we end up disappointing and frustrating our customers. So these are some of the areas that we must just keep at the top of our mind, that, you know, as we strive towards a customer experience management or customer-centric organizations, we look out for this. They might sound mundane and they might sound unimportant, but they could make or break our businesses. Sorry, I skipped one. So maybe some tips that we could have that could help us to enhance the customer experience. Again, understanding the customer and investing in data collection and analysis. That point could not be overemphasized. And then map the journey or the customer journey. Again, looking at all the touch points. And not just glossing over this, but to painfully say, as my customer goes from point A to point B, who are they in touch with over the service that I'm delivering or over the product that I am selling? And to ensure that with all these people, you are aligned, even if they're outside your organization, that you somehow influence them, that when it comes to delivering your service, that they do so in the way that you are trying to deliver it. And again, personalize the experience. Tinoda Zin. And because Tinoda Zin, I want that experience to be mine and not to be everybody else's experience. I want to feel like I'm the center of attraction and that your focus is on me and meeting my needs. So how do we do that? Again, we use data insights and we tailor-make experiences to the individuals that we are talking to. So I was sitting with colleagues here from Palm River Hotel, and I was picking their brains on a question that we have around Vic Falls, that there's no nightlife in Vic Falls. So I said, Jim, people say that there's no nightlife in Vic Falls. What are your thoughts? And then he says, Winnie, what time does anyone have to go to a disco when they've been going through activities the whole day? By 10 o'clock, they're tired and they want to go to bed. He says, this is why you will see that there has been this night spot and that night spot that has come and gone, come and gone, come and gone, because maybe only the locals are the ones that will patronize. But certainly, people that are visiting will go once, they might not go again because they're too tired by that at the end of the day. Okay. I know they don't agree. Okay. Sure. And then again, training our teams to ensure that our teams understand the importance of customer experience. And they are trained to deliver this consistently. And also that they understand how it affects the bottom line. That if you were lackadaisical about our service delivery or creating these experiences for our customers, then it will affect our bottom line. Because where people have choice, they will go where they think they'll get a better experience. And organizations need to remove silos and to promote cross-functionality and agility within organizations. So customer experience is not about, oh, there's some department there that is going to deal with these issues. But it becomes an organizational-wide behavior, if you can call it that. Again, collect and act on feedback. Regularly seek feedback from customers, formally or informally, and act on it to improve on the service. And again, create loyalty programs that those that are patronizing you more often, that you give a little bit back, and when you give back, the story goes round and you will gain more customers. And as I conclude, achieving customer-centric organizations is not a walk in the park. I haven't even gone into the theory and into the models that you could use for becoming a customer-centric organization. But we've just spoken about the very basics that we need to look at. And even that is difficult on its own. It takes a whole change in attitude in being able to deliver this across an organization. And leaders that are driving customer experience, they need to articulate what the end game is. And then to set initiatives and targets that are actionable and identify the stakeholders that they need on this journey and to operate this model. So this would be your customer experience strategy. And the customer experience management is not a department, like I said earlier on, but rather it's a behavior of an entire organization. And it becomes an identity of an organization. And it cuts across all functions, top, up, bottom, up. Everyone in the organization should then be focused or be customer-centric. An outstanding customer experience will help you attract more customers and introduce them to your brand, get them hooked, and then you keep them in your ecosystem. And satisfied customers will become your advocates. And they'll make you stand out in a crowd, stand against competition, or even rise above your competition and grow your businesses. Ladies and gentlemen, these are my few thoughts about customer experience and how it can affect our bottom line, or how it can help our bottom lines. I thank you.
You can take a seat.
Cheers.
Thank you very much, Winnie. Let's give a hand of applause once again. Now I understand why. You could tell from the presentation that she was making, she was always referring back to her experiences. So she is now an authority. She really knows what she was talking about. I think just a few things I picked from your presentation, that memories are built on experiences, which can either be good or bad. Memories are built on experiences. And
to go on holiday, I'm better off going to South Africa for the holiday because it's cheaper. But I should have the pride to say, I want to be able to experience my own country first before I go across the border. For example, if I go to Tanzania, I book into a hotel, I pay $30 per night. In my own country, I want to go on holiday in the Eastern Highlands, I pay $120 per night. So what effort are we making to make sure that that part of our segment is catered for? We can't then experience another person's environment before we experience our own. We can't sell our environment before we ourselves experience it. For you to be able to sell something, you have to be in it and you have to experience and know what it is all about. So I think we need to make an effort to make sure that that part of the segment is catered for. Thank you.
Thank you. Before Gillian asks, I must say, very practical questions, but my sister, this is not a setup. we are not ambushing you. I want to remind people, her topic was customer experience management, the game changer in improving the bottom line. Anyway, Gillian, you can ask your question. Gillian, you can ask.
Thanks so much, Director of Ceremonies. I think it is indeed a setup because the questions are more on the... So for me, it's more in line with the previous speaker, particularly pertaining to the video that we started with. As I was going through the video, my thinking and my view is that it is not directed at me as a Zimbabwean. I know the animals, I've experienced them. I mean, there's nothing fascinating for me as a local person to see a lion. Probably people were coming from outside. And taken aback, maybe most of the guys from my generation, there used to be this advert by Castle Lager. Zimbabwe people, hard-working people of every time. I don't know if you remember that, showing us Zimbabweans, working and stuff. And each time I would watch that video, it would show me who we are. I don't know if you remember that advert. We'll look for it. It's a very old advert, but for me, it would instill some confidence, some inspiration as a local person. So my thinking is, you are doing these graphics, these videos and stuff, like Esther really said, I think there's need for conversation with the local tourists because we are the ones who make Zimbabwe great. And the lions and the elephants and stuff, those are for our visitors. But what's the need for us? What convinces me that Zimbabwe is for the local tourists? I should plan what's exciting. We've got very exciting people. When you look at us, in our local setups, pamereki pai vanhu vachifara vachigocha, just to instill that. I think there's still a lot of that experience that we need as Zimbabweans. So it's in line with what the previous comment said. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me start with Liberty's question about Brand Zimbabwe. What you bring up there are very pertinent questions. But in this 1 year that I've been at ZTA, and the bit of traveling that I've done to other countries and destinations that are known as tourism destinations, the thing that I find is missing for Zimbabwe is that we are not working together as departments, government, private sector, and so on. Everyone just goes and does what they think they should be doing. But if we are going to be a service-oriented country, if we're going to be a tourism-focused country, then we need to make that decision that we need to be like this and then begin to work in that direction. In my presentation, I did say that leaders need to say, what is the end game? Who do we want? Do we want to be known as an agricultural state, Are we a mining state or are we a tourism state? And then we go in that direction. But we sort of mention tourism. We know the potential that tourism has for the country. We know its contribution, but we are not tourism focused. So we need to come together, whether it's our ministry spearheading this or a Ministry of Information. In fact, the whole of government should approach this as a project to say Zimbabwe must be a service-oriented country. And if we are a service-oriented country, it will permeate to all industries. And then we would be people that would be able to deliver on this service. So I do acknowledge that we have an issue, and the issue that we have is that we are working in silos. And until we come together, we would not be able to deliver this. I just came back, if I can brag a little bit, I just came back from Uzbekistan. So these were countries that Uzbekistan. So these were countries that we only ever saw on CNN, right?
For the wrong
But
reasons.
let me tell you, even as I was going there, I was like, this is just some random country. Why does the UNWTO even take us to this random country? But I ate humble pie when I got to Uzbekistan. The country is so tourism focused. They have made that decision. They have started building a tourism precinct. They've cascaded tourism right down to primary school level. So it's this kind of decisions that you need to make for you then to be able to say that this is the direction in which we will drive Brand Zimbabwe. So I hope I answer your question in that regard. And then there was a question about domestic tourism. Yes, that is the one thing that gives me nightmares, because minister after minister, peers after peers, they ask me, Winnie, what are you going to do about domestic tourism? But this is what we've inherited over the years. Tourism over the years was focused on international tourists. It was never focused on domestic. And I think domestic was almost a by the way. And then what happened is when COVID happened, I think we then realized that, oh my goodness, people within Zimbabwe are not able to afford to travel within Zimbabwe. So pricing is a very sticky issue. If you speak to operators, they will tell you that it's a factor of the economy. A lot of the inputs that go into the tourism product, they don't have control over. So, yes, you will have a goat for breakfast, but Elephant Hills doesn't have control over the price of eggs. Do they have control over the price of bacon or bread or whatever input that is going into this $35 goat? I don't know whether $35 is justified or not, but hey, it is $35. But they say it is a factor of the economy. But as the ZTA, as the ministry, we will persuade operators to look at their cost structures so that they can try and bring the pricing down. Yes, we understand that tourism sits right at the bottom of the value chain, and there are a lot of inputs that they don't have control over. But if they can look at their cost structure to be able to bring the pricing down so that it becomes affordable. We're also encouraging them to have a two-tier pricing structure, like a definitive one that you can actually appreciate, one that will appeal to locals or what locals could afford, and then a pricing for internationals, so that we have a good balance between the contribution of international tourists and that of local tourists, so that the industry can perpetuate. But one thing that we've also realized, and this is coming also out of COVID, was that there is lack of information generally to Zimbabweans about tourism in Zimbabwe. And again, it's emanating from previous years where the sector was focused towards earning foreign currency and attracting international guests. So, and can I marry that with Gillian's question to say the video, it was very deliberate. Because when the video was produced, I said, and no offense, there are too many white people in that. Right? You would think that it is some other country where there are no black people. I don't mean it in any bad way, but it's not representative of us. So I brought it here deliberately so that I could hear the feedback. And I'm glad that you gave the feedback that you did, Gillian. So why am I marrying these two questions? When the minister spoke about marketing being critical for Brand Zimbabwe, and I stood up and I clapped, I'm looking to Mars. I came from this organization. how I ended up at ZTA came out of this room. And I'm looking to you as my friends to help me so that we can market this country better. That's why I'm here.
Okay. As we go to the next round of questions, I just want to add something true. I'm not adding salt to the wound, but I think 2 weeks ago, I went to Cape Town, flew there, spent 3 nights, and came back. The costs, the amount that I paid was less than what I would pay for a return air ticket from Harare to Victoria Falls. And Cape Town is a major tourist destination in Africa. Anyway, next question. Question? Who's got? Okay.
Thank you for telling us about the importance of the customer. And I think you can never say that enough. But one thing that I want to ask is, what is your feeling on the importance of the customer service agent? I have a feeling one of the very, very difficult things that's happening right now is everyone is underpaying the customer service agents. So whoever comes at the cheapest price is the person who they're taking, hence the quality has gone down. Now, in a previous life, I used to travel a lot. So travel to Ghana, I used to travel, you name it, I used to travel. And you could never compare the type of service that you would get in Zimbabwe. Whether it was in Nyanga, I remember it was a lot of Mapo story there, but still, it was quality service versus what you get now in Zimbabwe. You go to Malawi, you're like, oh, I remember this. We used to do this at home. Is what is your feeling on how we are remunerating the people who are supposed to be safeguarding the industry that you are leading? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kuda. You know, it is a quandary that we are in. And really, tourism has lost a lot of, what can I say, good people, trained people. The greater number are living and going to the cruise ships. Last year, around September, I went to the American Embassy to get a visa. And there must have been about 40 of us that were getting visas at the time that I was there. And of about 40 of us, only 5 of us were not going to cruise ships. The rest were there to get their visas to go to cruise ships. So we've lost chefs, we've lost customer services agents, we've lost, you name it, in the whole value chain. But business must continue. We are here for this conference, and Elephant Hills will need people to be here to serve us. What choice do they have? They pick up people that are raw, take them through the paces maybe over a week, and then they put them through the system. This is where we find ourselves. And sometimes it's not even about maybe how much we are paying. It's also that how much am I paying to what I have? So if I have a student straight out of university, they don't even have practical experience, right? I still have to take them through, okay, so when we wash the dishes, this is the process. When we cut vegetables and whatever, this is the process. And you're thinking, am I going to pay this for somebody who would have gone through vocational training and is ready straight out of college into the kitchen and they can prepare a meal? So it's a quandary that we find ourselves in. So how do we solve it? Part of my experience in Uzbekistan is that because they're so deliberate about where they want to take tourism, they've set up a tourism college and university that takes students through vocational training and management training. And when these kids are coming out of this university, they are ready to step into service. So we need to look at even our education. If you speak to operators, they're saying, okay, even these students that you're churning out of all the different universities, they are so raw. They are not ready for them to be able to step into a work environment. And economy or not economy, organizations are spending less and less on training. Training becomes a by the way, and I did mention it in my presentation, that if they are not trained, they're just going to do the best that they can, because that's all that they know. So my feeling, Kuda, is that I come from a very different regime. I started vocational, and then I only got my degree later. So we were taken through the paces. I was telling the people in my office that when I worked at Air Zimbabwe as a customer services agent, couldn't walk around without makeup, without my hair tied up, without me looking a certain kind of way. I couldn't go around with laddered stockings. We wore stilettos, and you walked in those stilettos the whole day, because that is what Air Zimbabwe wanted to project. And the service was, you say good morning, ma'am, good morning, sir. And even the etiquette, we were taught all these things. But right now, I think people are coming into the workspace. We don't have time to teach them etiquette. Actually, if they don't have the etiquette, we're like screaming at them half the time. So I think we need to be deliberate about this. Yes, it will take a while for us to get back the people that we've lost through the brain drain. But with those that are there, customer experience leaders need to make that decision and train the people that are coming into their organization so that they are up to scratch, and then they would be able to remunerate them better. Because I think part of not remunerating them well is because, like, what am I getting out of this? So this is only worth $200, and that is what I'm going to pay. Whereas if they had been trained properly and they're delivering properly, maybe they could have been earning $700, $800. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm going to take final two quick questions, one from the midfield and one from the left wing. Midfield, no one? Okay, you forfeit your... I'll take from the right. Yes, the gentleman in the cap. Do we have anyone from the right side? If no, Joe, you can take the next.
Hello. Hi, ma'am. Thank you so much for that enlightening presentation. My question relates to what you're talking about. You're talking about the customer experience. And one of the ways these days that we sell the customer experience is social media, as the internet, is, I saw that very nice video that you had. But my question relates to, do you feel that we're doing enough as a country to leverage the huge, massive potential that social media presents to us, for us to be able to sell Brand Zimbabwe, for us to be able to court people, for us to be able to attract tourists to come to Zimbabwe? I'll give you an example. Right now, one of the most popular phrases on social media is, "It's giving Zimbabwe." I'm sure everyone knows that. Yes, it's giving Zimbabwe. And that has been taken, the way it came about is that there was someone, a Zimbabwean guy who was visiting France. Then he saw people selling, vendors just close to the Eiffel Tower. Then he said, it's giving Zimbabwe. So now social media has taken that to have it represent everything negative that can be happening anywhere else in the world. They say it's giving Zimbabwe. But we had that chance to take that same sound, same phrase, and convert it and spin it to showcase the beauty of Zimbabwe and say, no, this is what is giving Zimbabwe. So my question becomes, do you feel we're doing enough to leverage on social media in selling Brand Zimbabwe and building it?
Thank you, Joe.
Hello, okay, thank you so much. Yeah. Just some quick two suggestions. I'm not going to be asking those hard-hitting questions. The first one is, obviously, you spoke into it when you spoke about operating in silos. And when you gather your information when someone is traveling to Zimbabwe, what we just need to simply have is a mobile app that collects all the information. You use a QR code, someone comes to the airport. In Zimbabwe, it's very clear that you are now at immigration, you are now at Zimra. Everyone wants to be felt in that space, but when you go to other countries, it's seamless. You don't even know which department you are dealing with. So we need that mobile app that we can be able to use. And then secondly, it's more of lobbying in terms of the airport. The initial vision when we had that airport road was there was going to be a flyover from that Braeside area going into Enterprise. And right now, there are quite a number of airlines that are coming. I think 24, the last time I checked, that are coming to Zim. So maybe from an infrastructure, or since we are in this hype of developing our infrastructure, we need to lobby for that project to be completed. Zenara is also in the house. They should also take cognizance of that incomplete project. The airport road was not completed officially. Thank you.
Okay. Social media, I don't think that we are doing enough, or we have been exhaustive in the opportunities that we have on social media. So I'll make you laugh. So in my organization, I think we have about 3 generations, or maybe 2.5 generations. And your generation is the one that's working in digital marketing. And you know, some of the things that they bring to my office, I'll be like, no, ZTA is not going to be associated with things like that. And you know, and it's purely because I come from a different space. And sometimes I think, okay, maybe this is too much. But I think it happens across. I think the younger lot, they are quite happy to be on social media and to bear it all on social media, whilst the older generation might be a bit on the conservative side. I think we have massive opportunities that we have. And I think one of the things that I will confess that I'm having to deal with, I came from private sector and went to government. So some of the things that I think are very natural are not very natural in government. And it takes a lot of persuasion. But let me tell you that persuasion works. And I don't know if you've noticed, quite a number of government departments are beginning to infuse people from private sector, because I think the effect has been positive in where they have tried it. So I think as you do that, and you say that, you know what, guys, social media, don't worry about the comments. The comments are actually quite good. They will make us better and so on. And we sift through them. And those ones that are, you know, a bit heavy-handed, we'll swallow it, we'll cry a little bit, but life goes on. But we mustn't be scared of being on social media because we're worried about the comments that will come through. So we have a massive opportunity there. And like I said again, you will find the ZTA is going to be working very closely with MAZ for you to help us and to change the mindset, even for people within ZTA itself, to change the mindset that you are a marketing agency and you will do these things. Because for as long as we're shying away from these things, we remain sort of on the periphery, whilst competing destinations are going full throttle as far as social media is concerned. So yes, I agree, we have not done enough, or we have not been exhaustive as far as social media is concerned.
Thank you very much, Winnie, and thank you for your presentation on customer experience management. And colleagues, thank you very much for your questions on Zimbabwe tourism. And yeah,
I think we need a whole session on just ZTA, don't you think?
Yes. Okay. If I can ask the VP, Liberty Kajanje, to come and give the guests her token.
You guys made me sweat.
Yeah, thanks so much, Winnie. Whilst Liberty is coming, just to assure you that I think the marketers, the people in the room and outside, they are so much willing to partner with ZTA. I think create a platform for all the ideas to come through to you. You've got our backing. We want to see great things happening. So don't isolate us. Where you need marketers, just talk to us. We can put up teams, we can put up whatever you want, so that we add value to what you are doing. You've got our backing 100%. Thank you.
Right. This session was sponsored by the National Social Security Authority, NASA, and we'll give them their space to make a brief presentation, which I will do on their behalf. Okay. I'm sure we are all very familiar with NASA, which is a statutory body established by an act of parliament in 1989. NASA has 2 schemes, the pension and other benefit scheme, which
I think which is the most well known because it deals with the issuance of pensions and other benefits. And then also the Accident Prevention and Workers' Compensation Fund, Workers' Compensation Scheme, which is there to promote safety and health at work and offers financial support to employees who are involved in work-related accidents, illnesses, injuries, etc. I encourage everyone to listen carefully because there might be something for you. Okay, and NASA also runs a Workers' Compensation Rehabilitation Center, which is considered to be the best in sub-Saharan Africa. It's situated in Bulawayo, next to Mpilo Hospital. And the NASA schemes are designed to coexist with occupational pension funds. That's why you find there are limitations as to how much NASA, the rate at which NASA is levied on the income that you earn. And NASA also has an investments arm for sustainability purposes. Is there to ensure that we're able to pay pensioners, but it's also for the long-term sustainability of the fund. Just for information, we're involved in various sectors. On the ZSC, we control about 10% of the ZSC balance sheet. NASA also has about 111 properties situated across the country, constituting shopping malls, office parks, hospitals, hotels, land banks, etc. And NASA is also involved in what is called impact investments. As you'll find that many pension funds, by virtue of being mass mobilizers of national savings, they also contribute to national development. NASA is into housing development, agricultural value chain, renewable energy, infrastructure development. And the NASA's payoff line is a lifelong promise. And our technical team, if you can please play the 120-second video, which sums up what I was saying.
My NASA contributions ensure my independence will be carried forward and gone. I am a hero.
Ndinoshandira panzvimbo inochengetedza mararamiro angu nevandinoshanda navo ndiri gamba. Sumwenenise ukuvumeni NASA ukuba ivike imfanelo zakho ukuhlangela kuzingatsha ezibalulekile uyiqhawe.
Employers, your contributions ensure employees are covered for mishaps on the job. You are a hero.
Mari inoiswa nevashandi kuchikamu chenasa chinoona nezvekudzivirira tsaona pabasa nemari yekuripa vashandi inoita kuti vashandi vagowana chokuviri kana vakakuvara, vakarwarira kana kufira pabasa.
Nahlangina umahlela phansi kwami NASA.
Our new corporate culture is to deliver world-class social security products and services in a transparent, honest and accountable manner. Thank you, NASA Heroes, for entrusting us with your contributions. Tinotenda siyabonga. With NASA, you can always look forward to bright and sunny days during and after your working life. Hashtag NASA Heroes. NASA, a lifelong promise.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to ask my colleagues, Gertrude and Lowin, to stand up to assist me with the next phase, which will take a few minutes. I'm going to ask 4 questions, and the first one to raise up their hand, if they got the correct answer, there's a little something for them. Okay, the first question, can you please name the two NASA schemes? The 2 NASA schemes. Yes. Yes, I'll give it to you. And okay, you can, she got it. It's called the Pension and Other Benefits and the Accident Prevention and Workers' Compensation Scheme. Okay. Right. The next question. Can you please mention any 2 areas where NASA is invested? That's a giveaway. Any two areas where NASA is invested. Okay, there's one person from me. I've taken from the middle. Joe.
Shopping malls. Housing.
Okay. All right, Joe. And left wing. Where is the NASA Workers' Compensation and Rehabilitation Center located? Get to the menu picker. The light is blinding me. The light is blinding me. Pick. We can pick anyone. Sorry? Okay. All right. Thank you. Bulawayo. And we should withdraw the prize. It's Bulawayo. Okay. And this one is open to everyone. What's NASA's payoff line? Yes, the gentleman at the back, right at the back. Thank you, sir. Right. Yesterday I came, there was a gentleman who is a beneficiary from the Accident Prevention and Workers' Compensation Scheme. Is he in here? There was a gentleman who came to me after the afternoon session, and he told me that he was a beneficiary from the Accident Prevention and Workers' Compensation Scheme. Amuna. Well, so you have to be in it to win it. All right. Can you ask one more question? There's one more giveaway. I've exhausted mine. You can ask Gertrude. What was the question? Okay, thank you very much. All right. Before we break, if I can ask Enya to come and give us some announcements. The session, professor's session, has been moved to tomorrow. And Enya, if you can please come. Let's clap hands for her. She comes on board. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Afternoon, everyone. For a while, I thought you were going to give Tendai a Q&A session. All right. So can I just give us the announcement for this afternoon? Like what Tendai has said, there's the conference paper on the consumer protection, which is quite important. We're going to have it tomorrow. We'll advise you on the time. So for now, we're going to go for our lunch break. I think let's just try to be fast so that at least we're catching kind of a bit behind on time. So after that, we come through for our lunch, our breakaway session. I think we've already spoken about them, the one on digital trends, as well as the second one on the ESG question. So how we're going to have it, the digital trends panel is going to be hosted here in this auditorium, Kalala. And then the one on ESG is going to be hosted at the Gwai room. Gwai room is just adjacent to this one. I think once you come back for lunch, we'll be having the specific directions for that. So can you just make sure that we support all the panels? If we are groups, let's split and make sure that at least each panel is covered and we get to learn. After that, we have to come back for our keynote presentation from, should be 3:30 up to 4:30, where we'll be having our guest speaker from Nedbank South Africa, Kensani Novanda. So she will take us through the topic, the Future Fit Marketer. And then from there on, that's when we'll then have our rest for the afternoon, most likely at 4:30. And then we'll then meet again at 6 for our Azambezi dinner that is sponsored by National Foods. So all our buses, like what we did yesterday, they'll be waiting for us by the terraces. So for now, can you just break for lunch? Kuda and Rudo will be there outside helping you with your meal tickets.